Welcome back to my channel Dadhood, where I talk about everything I've learned as a dad. And in today's episode, we're talking about how my lifestyle has changed since when I didn't have kids to now having kids. So prior to having kids, you can say my lifestyle was generally quite relaxed and it was quite self-centered in a way. Not to say that I was selfish and not to say I'm somebody, when I say relaxed, I was somebody who was lazy, but I mean that I kind of did have a lot more time on my hands and a lot of my goals were a lot more self-centered in a way. So for example, I had a lot more time to go to the gym, right, to work on myself, work on my health, work on my fitness and things like that. And actually, traveling to the gym, having that time to go, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, spend an hour, 2 hours in the gym. I had that time to do that. Also, I had the time to kind of sleep in more regularly whenever I wanted to. There wasn't any kind of huge responsibilities over my head. I was working, but I was working part-time. So it's not every day that I had to get up and go. Yes, I was studying, but again, not every day that I had to start really early in the morning. And to be honest, if I really wanted to sleep in, I'll just sleep in, and there would be nothing that would have to push me to really do that. The good thing that about that time as well was that I was attending quite a lot of Islamic courses, and I was attending kind of multiple, so I would find things happening around London, whether it's north, south, east, west, whatever's going on. If there's weekend courses, I would just sign myself up. Also, in terms of my lifestyle when it comes to socializing, I was able to see my friends more regularly. I had time on my hands. I kind of had mainly just responsibility over myself. If I wanted to really cut down on my hours of sleep, I could do that because I'm only really worrying about myself, my health, and how my lifestyle is affecting just me. Prior to having kids, I was also super involved in loads of different community projects. I mean, a lot of my own projects too that I started up. I used to have a podcast, Ibn Battuta's Boat. I'll put the link in the description actually if you want to still watch any of the videos, but unfortunately we haven't continued that podcast. I was involved in youth activities, in youth centres. I was also involved in doing different types of charity work. And whenever there were any opportunities for goodness that came up, whether that was hosting something, whether that was helping a particular project out, whether that was mentoring somebody, I would kind of just jump at the opportunity because I have the ability, I have the energy, I have the resources, I have the time. I can get on with doing all these different kinds of multiple community development projects, and I really, really enjoyed that. So that kind of goes back to my other point that I mentioned at the beginning, that when I say relaxed lifestyle or more self-centered lifestyle, it doesn't mean that I wasn't helping people out or I wasn't being active in my community. It just means that a lot of those things I was doing with just me in mind, right? And I had the time to be able to do those things. And in terms of my nutrition, it was poor. To be honest, I just didn't really focus on my diet. I went to the gym, I wanted to build the muscle, I wanted to lose the fat, but I wasn't too interested in cutting out the junk or, being careful about eating chicken and chips and whatnot. I just went and did it. Also, prior to having kids, I was very much interested in my fashion, in buying clothes, spending on shoes, on trainers, on jackets, on hoodies, etc. I never went to like a excess because, to be honest, I didn't have that much money to do that, or I might have. Prior to having kids, as I said at the start, a lot of my lifestyle was very much centered around myself and how I wanted to develop myself and the opportunities that I wanted to take on. But now, in terms of how my interests have changed since I've had kids, there is a bit of a difference. So for example, going back to the point about fitness and working out, I do a lot more home workouts now. So I don't go to the gym, and to be honest, since I had kids, I pretty much just cut my gym membership off. Obviously now, with kind of COVID lockdown, etc., a lot of people are not going to the gym because they're closed. But even prior to that, I pretty much didn't have the time anymore to spend walking or getting on the bus or the car or whatnot to get to the gym, spend time there, come back, feeling tired, etc. The only time I have is a quick maybe 20 minutes in my day. I put out the mat, the yoga mat, and then just bang out a workout at home. Something that has changed in my lifestyle as well is going for walks. As a family, it's just something nice as a family that we like to do. Is to kind of put the kids in the stroller, go out, maybe we'll take a hot drink with us, put it in a takeaway wake up, a coffee, a hot chocolate, and we have a lot of kind of open spaces around where we live, nice parks just around where we live, and so we just go for a stroll, take the kids to the park. And that's something that I've really taken on as part of my lifestyle now. It's not something I would have ever been interested in doing prior to having my wife, my kids, my family. Back to the point about sleeping, this time instead of being able to sleep in regularly, I sleep quite little. Of course, with young children, with young kids, with babies, they're going to wake you up in the middle of the night, or they're going to wake up really early in the morning, right? And so you don't really have a choice. It's not like you can say, hey, no, snooze, hit your baby's head, snooze, that's it, they're out, you're out, and you can sleep in. That's not really going to happen. But of course, that gives me a lot more hours in my day, and to be honest, I do like the fact that I wake up early because it allows me to do things in the morning that I otherwise wouldn't have time to do if I woke up later. Something that I used to do prior to having kids, I forgot to mention, which is gaming. I used to enjoy my gaming. I wasn't kind of that extreme gamer playing every single day for hours and buying all the kind of that gaming accessories and whatnot, but I did enjoy my time just jumping on a games console and playing, whether I was on my own or whether that was with friends. Now, in terms of having kids, a lot of that has been cut off. I still have my console. I do want to play. It's not something where my interests have changed in that sense that I don't enjoy games anymore, but I just don't really have that luxury time to give away an hour or 2 hours just playing games. And something that I have kind of picked up is trying to do a weekly session of at least an hour or two with some of my cousins, just so we can keep in touch because we can't see each other anymore due to lockdown. What's changed also in terms of the Islamic courses that I mentioned is I'm much more focused on the type of Islamic courses that I am taking, because I just don't have the time to dilly-dally around and go and travel to this mosque and this center and go away for a weekend and sign up to this course. I don't have the disposable income to do that as well, and so I have to really pick and choose the type of classes and courses that I'm attending, which I actually think is a really good bonus. It's given me a lot more focus on what I need to focus on, of course. And the things that I am focusing on more are attending classes of Quran, specifically in terms of memorizing, tajweed, etc. Focusing on the Arabic language, focusing on anything surrounded with Arabic and Quran, for example, tafsir, tadabbur, etc. And I used to kind of really get dragged into all these courses that are happening, but now, because I have that focus, I'm easily able to shut those other things out. In terms of seeing friends, yes, that has changed after having kids. We only really link up, I would say, maybe once every 2 months or so. Before it used to be, what are you saying? Yeah, let's go, let's link up, let's go get Baskin Robbins, let's go eat. And it would be quite spontaneous. Now it kind of has to be planned out. We can't stay that late because obviously we have to get back home to the kids and things like that. So that has changed. It's made me be a bit more appreciative of the time that I do have with my friends, and we try to make the most of it when we can. The other thing that's changed also is in terms of my nutrition. Before, I never really focused on it, but now I am focusing on my nutrition. I am eating healthy. I am being very conscious about how much I eat in the day, what types of foods that I eat in the day, because I want to make sure that I am being a healthy dad. I am there for the long term for my children, and also to set an example to my children, making sure I'm not bringing in those sweets, chocolates, junk food, and I'm making sure that there's nutritious food available to my children as well. Overall, in terms of prior to having kids, as I mentioned, a lot of my goals and my lifestyle was centered around myself. I would say that a lot of my goals and my lifestyle are very much centered around my family now. And not just my immediate family in terms of wife and kids, but also a lot of the decisions that I make me think about things in the long term, about being a grandfather. And also it makes me think about my wider family as well. My mom, my brother, my sister, my grandma, my dad, aunties, uncles. I think a lot more about how I can interact with them, how I can be in contact with them, how I can keep that relationship, how I can kind of nurture that relationship a bit more. Once you have kids and you see how important that family unit is, it makes you think about your relationship with your family members as well. The main takeaway and reflection that I've had is that prior to having kids, yes, I was more focused on myself, which I think has a pro and a con. In terms of the con, I think it's that when thinking about my goals, it was a lot more centered around me and not taking into account the other people around me, my family members, my friends, etc. But the good part was that I was taking care of myself a lot more, and I was focusing a lot more of my self-development. Now with having kids, I would say my focus is a lot more on my family, which is good because my goals are a lot more focused. My goals mean a lot more to me because it affects people around me. But the thing that I am lacking in, that I would have had or that I did have prior to having kids, is taking care of myself. I put others above myself. Although that is good, I think sometimes I take that to an extreme. I begin to suffer because of that. My mental health, my physical health, etc. It suffers because of that. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you a bit more of an insight of how things can change once you do have children. Hopefully it didn't put you off having children. Alhamdulillah, it's amazing to have children, and you can see that there's a lot of benefits after having children. Yes, there are some sacrifices you have to make. And similarly, it's not that it's, you know, your lifestyle completely changes. As you can see, there's still a lot of things that I kept in my lifestyle. So please subscribe to the channel, give it a like, put down in the comments yourself if you've had kids, how's your lifestyle changed, and also make sure to follow me on Instagram if you want to find more of this kind of dad related content. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.